Hello and welcome to My Quirky Rides, and you'll have to excuse the aeroplane in the background, and we're not going to talk about these today. We're going to be talking about something a bit different. So this is my the daily driver. The car I drive every day, and as you can see there, it's got a bit battle scarred there. So we're going to see if we can do something about it. So I'll start off with some sanding. I'm using, this is 80 grit paper there with a sanding block, a slightly flexible sanding block. Right, so here I've tried to feather the edge out so you don't get a ridge. So when the paint goes on, the primer goes on, you don't see a ridge between the filler and the paint, so this is nice and flat. So anyway, it's still a depression here and it feels a bit hollow, so I'm going to put another layer of filler in there and sand it down again and see where we go from there. Right, if they invented smell-o-vision, you'd appreciate how strong this stuff is. Just mixing this up to a smooth consistency before applying it to the car. Right, so nearly there with the sanding now, but just one or two pinholes I need to go over with a filler just to get it really smooth before putting the primer on. Right, so I've filled it and I've sanded it again, and I blew all the dust off with an airline, and you wouldn't believe the amount of dust absolutely went everywhere. So it's just as well I was doing it outside. I tried to blow it away from the neighbour's window. So the next stage will be to mask off the area and apply the primer to the surface. There's a few pinholes just there and there, but I'm hoping that the primer will fill in those holes, and when I sand it down again it'll be smooth enough for the top coat. Anyway, we'll see how we get on. So the next stage is the masking. Before I go any further, I just want to mention about this degreasing system. So this is something I'll just spray onto the bodywork, which gets rid of things like oil and grease, and get this spray to work. Yeah, there we are. Gets in, and also things like wax, wax polish, because otherwise you will get horrible effects, paint effects, if you don't get rid of the wax. You get little fish eyes and paint doesn't stick to the surface. So I'm now using P600 wet and dry paper. Well, I'm just increasing the area. Using some water spray. This is much finer than the other abrasive paper I was using. Just going up to the edge of the door, and I'll be spraying up to there. So now I've rubbed all of the area that I want to, excuse the seagull in the background. Now I've rubbed down all the part of the panel that I want to spray. I'm going to wipe it with a tack cloth or tack rag just to get rid of the loose bits of dust so it doesn't get stuck in the paint. Right, so I've basically masked off the area around the outside because I think if you don't want it sprayed, get it covered. And so I'm now going to use the primer filler. I don't know if this is a mirror image because I've turned the camera around the other way, but anyway, here we go. Right, so this is an infrared curing lamp that is trained on the bodywork here, and this helps to cure the paint to help it dry quicker. Right, so this is the paint system I'll be using. So it's called Clear Over Base. So this is the base coat here, which is the colour, and on this one I don't mix hardener in with that. I mix it with thinners, which is this one. This is standard thinner. So I mix 50-50, so the same amount of this to the same amount of this tin. Now when I've painted that, this colour, which is mixed in with this, when it's dried, I then apply what's called a clear coat, which is a bit like a clear varnish. We call it a lacquer or a clear coat, which is this. And I mix this 2 to 1, so 2 parts of this to 1 part of this. This is a hardener, or sometimes it's called an activator. So we mix these together, and that gives us a durable, clear coat, which really is what makes the car shiny at the end. So this is good stuff. It's pretty lethal, so I wouldn't recommend breathing in the fumes too much. And so that's that then. Right, so now I'm using a scuffing pad, which is like a scouring pad, just to key the surface and get rid of any sort of bits, loose bits stuck to the surface of the panel. Right, this is the scary bit. Right, so I'm just giving it first coat and giving it a dose of the heat lamp for about 10 minutes, and then I'll apply another coat. Okay, I think that'll do for the base coat, which is the colour coat. So the next bit is to put the clear coat or the lacquer over the top to give it that shiny finish, and that's the most daunting part, because that really makes a difference as to what the overall finish of the car looks like. So anyway, here we go. Right, so the clear coat is now ready to go on, and we'll just see what happens. Okay, so that's 3 coats of clear gone on there now, and there's a few bits have landed in the surface, but you often get that anyway, but they can be polished out. But it's not a bad result. So when it's properly dry and hardened, I'll give it a light sand and a polish, and it should be good to go. So anyway, here's the end result, and it's not been without its problems, and there is actually around about here somewhere there is a small mark which reacted to the paint. But anyway, once I've rubbed the whole thing again lightly and polished it, it should be okay. Anyway, it doesn't look too bad. So there we have it. Anyway, that's all for now, and I'll see you in another video. Bye.